Welcome to Crucial Dialogue, hosted by Reverend Roger Gambrell and Reverend Clinton Thomas, where we discuss pivotal and controversial issues for those that need nurturing and clarity in the faith. Converse with us. Ask any question you want. Meet us online and join the dialogue. This is Crucial Dialogue.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crucial Dialogue, where we discuss controversial and pivotal issues that need clarity in the faith. I am your co-host, Reverend Clinton Thomas. Looking forward to our discussion on tonight. My partner in the ministry, Pastor Roger Gambrell, won't be with us, but we have an excellent panel tonight that's going to help us with our weekly discussion. Welcome to the show. Again, Deacon Trevor Blaylock. Deacon Blaylock, how you doing on today?
Backed by unpopular demand, I'm here. I'm doing all right.
I beg to differ. You are backed by popular demand. And we also have with us Deacon Andy Jackson. Andy is with us via satellite, y'all. He's over in Dubai. I'm just kidding. Deacon Jackson, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Good to be with my brothers in Christ. Ready to get some crucial dialogue on.
All right, glad to have you. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us tonight. We have one of our elders from Christian Bible Church, Elder Ken Johnson. He's a financial consultant with Financial Network. So, Elder Johnson, thank you for joining us on tonight. Tell us how you're doing.
I am doing very good. Thank you for your invitation. I am excited about being here.
All right. Well, gentlemen, as we get ready for this crucial dialogue, let me say to those of you that are out there in YouTube and Facebook world, if you want to chat with us, we welcome your comments and your questions and things of that nature. So use the chat feature or you communicate with us as best you can. Remember, we are here to have dialogue, so we want to hear from you. And so always remember housekeeping rules. Keep it clean. There's no need to be mean. Gentlemen, we have been talking about being woke, all right? Generally speaking, most of the time, being woke deals with some type of injustice, something dealing with society. In particular, a lot of times we're talking about racism, being woke to things that that the man or people or society does not want us to know. Well, tonight we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about being financially woke. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about financially woke. In particular, are you financially woke or are you financially asleep? All right, let's go ahead and get this dialogue started. There's some common terms that we hear all of the time. We hear people talking about saving money. We hear people talking about investing your money. Save your money for a rainy day. Save your money for expensive car repairs and all of those types of things. Let's talk about, we hear about being investing your money. All of those things. So being financially woke. Are you in the audience financially woke or are you financially asleep? Guys, let's start this conversation, this dialogue off by talking about saving money. Do we think people are asleep on this issue or are they woke, I'm sorry, financially? Let's talk about it. Deacon Jackson, start us off. Saving money.
I think that we most definitely are woke on this subject of saving money. Historically, we've been taught, put your money under a pillow, save for a rainy day. But I don't think that we ever got the education to understand that it's not necessarily about how much money you make, it's how much money you spend. And when you jump into the savings program, you got to have some kind of understanding about what that money is doing. A lot of times it's just standing there, it's sitting there, and it's even worse, it's making somebody else a whole lot of more money. So when we have to understand that, taking our money and just putting it in the bank, that sooner or later we got to understand that money should be working just as hard for us as we worked this hard to get it.
All right. Sounds good. Very good. I like that. Deacon Blaylock, give us some insight on saving money. Are people financially woke when it comes to saving money?
I'm trying to make sure I use the correct PG terminology. I don't think saving and investing is as appetizing. That's the word I want to use. As appetizing
Okay.
as certain other ways of making money, and it's a very
Okay.
boring process when done correctly, I believe. So I think people are asleep on us. I don't think people are woke about what it means to save and invest.
Wow, America, did you hear that? The deacon has spoken. We asked the question, are you woke? He said you are asleep when it comes to saving money, if I said that right, Trevor. Now, let's bring in our financial consultant, Elder Johnson. When it comes, you deal with financial advising, consulting. Give us some insight when you deal with people. What when they first come to you, what language are they speaking? Is there any literacy involved, or tell us what some of your first encounters are like?
Well, some encounters are basically when you're dealing with people who I say when they walk into the office are not financially woke. They are
Hmm.
looking for some guidance. And so
Okay.
guidance means that they have come to the point in their financial career or their financial life that they realize that they're not doing some of the things that they need to be doing. Sometimes
Okay.
they've heard what other people are doing and they're not doing it. Sometimes they're wondering why other people around them are successful and they're not. So it is important for them to, learn the basics. Learn the basics of why is it important to save money. And that save is great for short-term uh, financial needs. But once you get beyond that, it is time to start looking at something that will help your money to really grow. And in order to do that, you have to learn some financial basics as it results to uh, investing and learn, as Anya said, let your money work as hard for you as you have worked to earn it.
Okay. Okay. Comments.
Well, I think that if we look at it in a sense of wokeness, meaning that you're asleep, I think it's intentional. I think that culturally we don't pair savings with investing. We pair investing with gambling. And so when you look at it as a return on the investment, it's almost culturally we're afraid to let that money grow without us physically going out and doing something to achieve that growth. So we have savings and we're thinking about it as I put $10 up, I know I got $10. So if I need $10, I can go get that 10. But when it comes to investing, it's a process of that money not being as easy to get back. So we tend to shy away from the investment part of savings because of the desire to be able to just go get my money back when I want it. So we're really sleep in the sense of understanding. Um, if you go take $20,000 and put it in the bank tomorrow, you can't just walk up to that bank and go get that $20,000 back. It's a process of getting that money back to you because the bank just took it and did what you were afraid to do with it. So I think that if we paired savings and investing together and learned it in the same manner, then hearing about somebody investing in Bitcoin or somebody investing in Apple or Tesla and that money coming back, tenfold, we think about that all that you was just lucky. You know what I mean? That was a gamble. But it's some actual research that's involved in understanding that market of investing that we just, I guess, tend not to want to invest our time to be able to invest our money.
So it sounds like you're saying it's easier to to fill up a casino bus going to Kashada than it is to get people to just invest $100. Am I understanding? Is that about right?
Most definitely. I think that thrill, that thrill of becoming an instant millionaire is more enticing than understanding compound interest and uh seeing where 5 years or 10 years of investing $100 would do for you.
Did I just hear you say compound interest?
Yes, sir.
I thought we agreed not to use big words on Crucial Dialogue. How about that? Trevor, you
Well,
you you
for
had a
those
comment,
for,
Trevor. Huh? Go ahead, Andy.
now I was just gonna say, for those who don't know what that is, it's just taking uh your money and multiplying it by the day versus uh putting it all in one pot and trying to get something out of it instantly. It's a matter
Okay.
of time management, time and money management.
Okay, we're gonna hear from Trevor and then Elder Johnson. We had some good questions to pop up on the screen, and I'll come back to you. You had a thought, Trevor.
Yeah, and I think what Deacon Andy brought up is a really good point. We need to be very particular about the terms that we use. There's a difference between investing and what I would call speculating. I think part of
Okay.
what speculating is, that's what looks like the casino. That's putting the money
Mm,
for these long shots. So if you have a lot of risk, so if it's a risky venture, you're going to have a lot of rewards if it pays off, but you also have the risk of losing it all. So if you ever went to the
uh-huh.
casino with some money in your pocket and you didn't leave with anything, that's because there's a lot of risk associated with it. There's not that many
Okay.
people win at the casino. So I think we need to be sure that, are we trying to invest our money or are we trying to speculate with our money? A lot of times people want to get rich quick because they didn't do the things before, the small incremental things over time. And so they're at the position at the end, it's like, how do I catch up? Well, I have to be risky to catch up instead of just doing the small sacrifices every single day, week by week, to build it up where you don't have to take such a big risk at the end.
Wow. Wow, man, you guys are giving some good advice. Elder, comments on what you've heard so far.
And I think both of these gentlemen have it in perspective. So we would naturally assume that they are woke, because investing is a process, and it is a process that does not happen overnight. But one of the
Hmm.
things that we have to do is come to the point where we want to sit down and understand that we are the managers of our monies, the monies that we are, and we are financially responsible for what happens to them. And as it was already said, we have to learn to distinguish between long term investing and short term savings. And as Andy said, once we decide that these monies are going to be for the long term, that we systematically invest over a period of time and watch how, through the compounding of interest and dividends and capital gains, that we are able to watch that money grow for us. So whether we're saving for retirement, whether we're saving for children's education, we may even have a midterm goal of saving for a home, to purchase a home. We must just be consistent in what we do. And then the last thing I'll say before I stop is we must also understand what our risk tolerance is. Trevor
Okay.
said it earlier, between speculation and investing. Well, each of us have a risk tolerance. And so understanding what our risk tolerance is tells us where we need to go and what type of investments we need to invest in. No one wants to invest their money in a place that keeps them woke all night, that every time the stock market goes up or the stock market goes down, I'm up at night either counting my pennies or counting the few pennies that I may have lost just because the market has dropped just a little bit.
Wow, you made an interesting point. How does one determine what their risk tolerance is? How do you determine that?
Well, the way
Well,
I would look at it, if I could chime in, is what you can't afford to lose. A lot of times we get caught up in the credit, situation, and we willing to go and purchase things that we can pay back later.
Hmm.
So at the beginning, I said it's not about how much you make; it's about how much you spend. So
Right.
somebody that's on the low income bracket can still save if they manage their expenses. So
Okay.
each person, and a lot of times we don't want to ask for help. We don't want to call a brother Ken and say, hey, you know, I need somebody to look at this situation. I
Uh
want to I
huh.
want to know how much I got coming in and how much I got going out. So we're gambling per se every day. When you have to call your bank. I've been in that space where you don't balance your checkbook. You call the bank every day just to see how much money you got in right before you go in and swipe. And so, since we don't do well with managing the day-to-day finances or expenses, it's hard to look at the bigger picture and say, because if you took $10 a day for 4 weeks, or $10 a day for six months, look back at what that is, or what that turns out to be. But a lot of times we don't spend the time to actually do that, so that we don't know what is our appetite for savings. We just don't look at it.
Okay. Okay. Another interesting thought that came to me was, um, I wonder how much more awake we would be financially if more was put into our children from an educational standpoint. And what made me think about that is the comment that said our communities must be committed to education. Just think if the children were taught about savings and risk and investing and things like that, like we teach them about. If just think if we taught them just as hard about those topics as we do American history. You know what I mean? We're arguing over critical race theory. We need to be talking about teaching our kids how to be financially stable. And if we teach the children, we know the book says if we train a child in the way that they should go, when they get up in age, they're not going to depart from it. So I believe our communities would fare much better if we would if we would start some type of educational programs with our children, and then I think we could get some things going in the right direction. I got a verse on the screen from Proverbs 21 and verse 20 from Roger Gambrell. It says, "This is precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up." So
Hmm.
I wish Gambrell. I wish I had him on the phone. I'm gonna pick on the casino people. So are you saying the people going to Kashada are foolish? Are they just not woke? What's really going on? That's my group I choose to pick on tonight. And if because they can't
You're
Right.
not gonna
say,
pick
well, they
on.
can say something back. But anyway, go ahead.
I said you're not gonna pick on people who buy those bags. That's like a
The
casino
bags.
to me. Oh, you know. Oh, I guess your wife doesn't buy those $1,000 bags.
Oh no, no, we don't
Uh
play that in
oh.
my house. I'm sorry. No,
Uh
no.
oh.
I'm sorry. Hey,
Uh
stay
oh.
focused, Trevor. Stay focused.
Uh
I
oh.
think that is if you're talking about risk, and I think that the Proverbs verse is really well put. Though the
Uh-huh.
risk is spending the money that you need in the future. I think that's the competition that we a lot of times encounter is the person that you are today versus the person you are tomorrow, and you're borrowing money for your future self to get what you want today at the
Hmm.
sacrifice of the things you need tomorrow. And so you have a bill coming up
Exactly.
next week, and you're choosing to spend the money today, knowing you need that money next week. So you're in constant conflict with yourself. And I think that's riskier to take the money that you know you need tomorrow because you want something today. So
Yeah.
you're really hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I
All right,
think that
Lee.
if you look at it
Go
from
ahead.
the perspective of the kids, or teaching our youth, let's look at what we do teach them. We teach them, if you don't work, you don't eat. We teach them that you can't take it with you. When you die, it's gonna be left. So I think we create on the opposite end by not teaching financial literacy. The culture is telling them just blow it. It don't. You worked hard for it, just spend it. So we got it going on both sides to be able to get to a point where we can progress. Because we're teaching the wrong things and not teaching the right things at all.
Right. Now, Broussard,
And
can you
that's
give me
very
that
important.
question? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elder. Broussard, bring
And
up the
that's
comment, the question about how to save or what to save. All right, go ahead, Elder. Sorry about that.
um, that's very important when we talk about financial literacy, because where a man lacks wisdom, he's not going to prosper. And
Mm-hmm.
so we must educate ourselves. I mean, we have access to number one, financial advisors, financial consultants who can help direct us. But all of us, when we want to find information about something that really is important to us, they go to the university or YouTube, or they go and do some research on their own so that they can make themselves aware of what they're trying to accomplish. And
Right.
uh, being financially literate is the same thing. We must seek information on how to become good stewards of what God has given to us, because that's what it all boils down to, is being and wanting to be good stewards. I was talking to a gentleman just the other day. I'll tell you this real quick. He's in his mid 30s, and we've talked off and on for at least the last 8 to 10 years about
Mm-hmm.
investing. He and his wife earn a real good salary. They're both professionals, and they're doing some of the basic things like investing in their 401ks and putting a little money aside for the kids for education. But I talked to him 2 weeks ago, and the light bulb has finally come on. Or maybe I should say, he finally woke up, because now he's asking more questions of how can I let my money work for me? What are the things I need to be doing to get ahead of the game, to take my game and my investing and my financial game to the next level? And so it's the process that we go through, but we have to be willing to learn ourselves and then turn around and educate our children. I guarantee you, if you start a child off while they're young, showing them that part of their birthday monies or part of their Christmas money went into a special account, and then you periodically review that account with the kids, just as advisors do with their clients, they're going to learn to appreciate how their money is growing for them.
Wow. So having said that, I need all of you out there in Facebook and YouTube world. I need you to flood Elder Kenneth Johnson's email and cell phone with questions on how to get your children involved. I mean, Elder, you make a valid point. If we start with the children, as we said earlier, man, what a difference it'll make. You know, the prophet Hosea talked about the people are being destroyed because of a lack of knowledge about God. You know what I mean? They were not willing to learn about God, and it was causing destruction. So I just wonder if we took that, not taking that verse out of context, but I wonder how much destruction is occurring because of people having a lack of a financial knowledge. You know, how much destruction is actually taking place in our families because people just they don't have the knowledge. And as Andy said, some people don't want to reach out, and that's just simply pride. But there are, I'm sure, a lot of resources that are out there that can help people become financially woke, and we can stop some of these trends, stop spending so much money on things that have absolutely no value, down the road, and start making wise choices. I think it'll help us all. All right, I see the question. What are good investments people should start with? What are some good investments people should start with? Elder, help us out.
Well, that's a very good question, and that's a person specific question. But I would just say, as a general answer, if you want to start off, and it depends on age, it depends on your time horizon and some other factors. But if you're a young person just starting out investing, once you've determined your tolerance for risk, a good growth fund, a good equity fund that includes some brand names, companies, is a good way to start investing money. And when you, just as a quick side note, when you invest in a mutual fund, you're buying a group of companies at one time, therefore diversifying and spreading out your risks at the same time. So a good growth fund would be a good way of starting off with an investment. And people have to realize that back in the 50s and the 60s, when it took 10, 20, $100,000 to open up an investment account, well, those days are no longer here. You could start a
Hmm.
systematic as little as, depending upon what you're working with, $50 to $100 a month. There's no excuse. With the rise in prices at the fast food line, you're going to spend dollars just to go through the fast food line. One of the things we have to learn is that we pay. This is my easy prescription: is that we pay God first and we pay ourselves second. We have
Hmm.
to make money for ourselves and then develop self discipline to allow that money to work for us.
Wow. So it sounds like
I want to comment on the
we need we need discipline to be financially woke. Come on, Andy.
yeah. So just to keep coming with the comment to the question. Full disclosure, I am not a financial advisor. I don't you know, that's not my lane. But if you was to ask, if I was to be asked what are good investments, my suggestion is to go look in your closet. Look
Uh
at
huh.
the TV that you got. Look at the car that you got. Look at what you spending your money on right now. Those are what you should be investing in, because you've already took the first step of helping that company grow by spending your money with them, whether it's retail shops or it's clothing stores. A lot of these things, like Brother Ken said, we have apps now that you can invest $10 a week, $1 a week, depending on the broker. So they have opened up avenues for the regular person to get into the investment game. And if you just don't know what companies to spend your money with, spend your money on the companies you're already spending your money with.
I saw a comment from a teenager. What are ways to save your money as a teenager? What are some ways? Elder, are you aware of any programs, and any programs you're aware of that are low risk for someone like a teen to make investments? Are you all aware of any of those programs?
There are a few programs out there, and I can't call one by name right now, but I will supply that information to you in the future. But the first
Okay.
thing as a teenager is to start with the basics. Open yourself up a savings account. I know we've talked about the difference between saving and investing, but you have to
Hmm.
have a little bit set up in savings, and that helps you to become disciplined. It helps start the discipline process so that, okay, I put this money into savings and I've reached my goal as far as what I want to save. Now I can go to the next step and start doing some investing. But having a savings account is a good way for a teenager to get started, and that will set the springboard for what they could do next. And always remember that we're building here. So don't think I'm going to do a savings account and just stop there. We are building a systematic way of learning how to accumulate wealth. So that's a good place to start.
Oh,
Is
well
there
put.
anybody have a
And
comment on this?
Yeah, come on, Trevor.
go ahead.
All right. And so think about it long term, right? You're a teenager. And the question is, how do I save money? Well, what do you spend money on? So instead of going and getting the large, get the medium. You've already saved some money there. Instead of getting two pairs of shoes, get one pair of shoes. You already saved money
Hello.
there. Instead of, going get that extra candy bar, don't get it. Save money there. There's ways you can incrementally save money without doing something drastic life change wise. Now, I think the good point that Elder Ken brought up is there are certain things that you can do. But one thing I want to add as well, as you're younger, you can absorb more risk because you have more time to make up. So as you get older, you keep running the risk. You try and make the lottery your 401k. You're going to be disappointed. But as you're younger, you have the more time to have more risk tolerance. You might not want it, but you have more time to make up in case something goes wrong. So I would say look at a company that you think is going to do well in 40 years. What company you think is going to be around 40 years and be thriving? Maybe that's something you want to look into. I always say keep it simple and start getting interested in investing. Okay.
And
Oh, Trevor,
one point that
you got some positive
yes,
feedback. Go, Trevor.
yeah, and the one thing that I would say to the teenager is invest in yourself. You know, buying a book, going to e-read, invest in that
Good point.
summer school class. Um,
Good point.
a lot of times we think about investment and we just thinking about money, but as a teenager, the biggest investment that you can make is in yourself.
Exactly.
So, man, you guys are on it tonight. So, got a question. So, we're still dealing with this pandemic, and businesses, unfortunately, some had to close, some had restricted hours and things of that nature. Let me hear your thoughts on, as far as like COVID caused us. COVID stopped us from going out to spend like we normally would. Okay, so if people, what are your thoughts on? Did COVID? I guess my question is, can COVID help some people to spiritually wake up because we were not able to spend as much, or will it be when COVID clears up or when we get the all clear, or for lack of a better word, will people go back to their traditional spending habits? Any thoughts on that?
I think you bring
Well,
up a
I
great
think that
point. Appreciate it. I'll go this. COVID definitely impacted a lot of industries. You have a lot of,
Hmm.
in terms of vacation, tourism, restaurant, hotel, all those industries were impacted by COVID. Also, you have retail that was heavily impacted by COVID, meaning people weren't
Hmm.
spending as much. And what you saw
Uh-huh.
kind of earlier this year is that a lot of people were taking their money, they're actually investing it. So that has caused a lot of people to be spiritually woke now. Some people are doing different funny things with the money, and some people, if you remember the GameStop situation. So some people made out really well and some people didn't. I think
Hmm.
part about being woke is also understanding all the consequences involved, and again, finding your risk tolerance, and I would say have an enjoyable time investing. It shouldn't be a stressful situation.
Okay.
so. I would like to say that if we have to be careful with the way that these companies adapt to their marketing strategies. A lot of
Hmm.
our financial ignorance comes from intentional uh, marketing and advertising and things that suggest that we should have certain things. And so, as that market changes because of COVID and industries are hurting, it
Hmm.
was a rush to open back up. It was a rush because of the financial burden that it was putting on certain industries that said,
Hmm.
we need to just open back up. Our kids, the
Right.
economy is going to crash. So I think that if we look at it and say all of these things that we went without throughout this pandemic, and all of the new things that we learned, being on the computer, or um, just investing time and reading and spending time with family members that we haven't got to know as much. I think that if we as a human race or a country, let's just say as a country, begin to dictate the market, which we are the market, and I don't think that
Hmm.
we understand that part, that we have the power to sway these industries into being more, I guess I could say, responsible with our loyalty to their brands. And
Okay.
we can do a lot better with pushing the hand of some of the propaganda that was spewed out. A lot of people start cooking on their own throughout the pandemic. So now
Uh-huh.
you know what's going inside of the food that you was eating, in the restaurants. And so if we just picked up cooking a little bit more, we could put some pressure on this industry to actually value our dollar more than what we just willing to give it away. So as we adapt through the pandemic, we should be forcing these companies to adapt as well.
All right, very good. Thank you for those comments. We're going to go ahead and start our descent to land. Thank you for those comments, Andy. Trevor, anything you want to share with us before we go?
Yeah, this is a verse that has to be put up, and I think this is important. A lot of people, we talk about slavery in the modern context. I think when we're borrowed a whole bunch on credit, I think Andy put it, we put ourselves in shackles, right? So the verse here, Proverbs 22:7 says, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. So there's certain things that we need to be aware of. Know what you're signing. So whenever you get a loan in any type of context, know what you're signing and ask for the interest rate. There's a lot of things that are designed to protect the consumer and to protect you as an individual. Know what you're getting into and always ask for the interest rate. One of the experiences I'm going to say real briefly, when I first went to car shopping, I went to a dealership. I was looking for a used car. The guy is like, oh, let me quote you. He just showed me what the monthly amount was. I did my math. I know a little bit of math. And I said, you're asking me to pay 15% interest. He's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And I was like, that is a problem. Someone gave me a 15% interest car loan and acted like that was normal. So know what you're signing. Ask for the rate. Don't be swooping. Like, I only have to pay this a month. Your money's important. Don't make your money work against you.
Amen. Well put. Elder Johnson, closing comments on the question of, are you financially woke?
I just say that this is a good opportunity. It is great dialogue, and it helps us hopefully to realize that we are the CEO and financial officer of our household, whether you're a married couple or whether you're an individual. And you have to learn to run your house as a business. Start off with a budget, because a budget gives you an actual evidence of how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. And make it a point to always have some money at the end of the month and not have money left at the end of money. Become responsible stewards over what you do. And I'll leave you with this in Proverbs 6:9. How long do you lie down, O lazy one? Will you arise from your sleep and learn self-discipline?
Amen. Well put. I like the verse that Pastor Gambrell had up on the screen, Proverbs 13 and verse 7. It says, there is that maketh himself rich, yet have nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet have great riches. It all starts with God. God is the giver of every good and perfect gift. Thank you for that verse. And so I believe if we'll just follow what Luke said in chapter 6, if we'll give, okay, give to God. Okay, well, let me read it. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. Remember, God created everything, including the money that we allow to become a God in our lives. Folks, the question tonight is, are you financially woke? We hope that the answer is yes. If it was no when we started, we hope that it's yes now. Guys, I appreciate your time. This has been a wonderful dialogue. Thank you again, Deacon Blaylock. Thank you, Deacon Jackson. And thank you most certainly, Elder Kenneth Johnson, for your input on tonight. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for our show. Join us next time on the same crucial time at the same crucial channel. That's the end of today's Crucial Dialogue. Have a good day, and God bless you.
This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Make sure you never miss a show by joining us on Mondays at 6 p.m. by going to our website, powerhouseoflove.org, our YouTube and Facebook channel, or the Google and Apple Podcasts. Hope you tune in next time.